Hello everybody, welcome back. Frigid here as always. I guess it'd be more for people watching the VODs, to be brutally honest. But I have kind of been looking for some people that'd be willing to be part of playing through Terraria. Well, technically Tmod loader. There'd be a few mods, of course. Which one is this again? Yes, that's right. Should probably get another one of those made. Hell no. Crap. What's this one? Yeah, I just realized something very unpleasant. The only Wa abnormalities I have right now are yin and yang. Okay, fine. I don't know how quickly yin and yang move once they've breached. I bring that up because, for all I know, only common. How high is it? 91. Huh. And for all I know, they move around quick. They move around quickly enough that it could be very difficult to suppress the both of them. While they're breaching, which is gonna be a big problem if I intend to get the pardon me, if I'm gonna be getting well, clearing the mission that I'm currently on for Gebura. Hang on. I could just tackle Judgment Bird, but trying to get that one to breach intentionally is gonna be a real pain. Not to mention suppressing it's quite the pain as well. There we go. Oh, shoot. Oh, so it just randomly does all sorts of different damage. I think it was Insight that gets the best results. I could suppress those two for the, suppressing in the left class for that quest that I mentioned, but well, I'm gonna need to suppress a third. The only other left class I have right now is this asshole right here. I'd rather not have to do that. Well, dang. Oh, common, huh? Ah, that's why. How bad could it be? I should not have said that! Wait. Weak only to pale. That could be a problem. Okay, so she's the magical girl that I've got right now. Okay. Okay. Don't you dare panic, Christopher. Dagnabbit! Yeah, boy. One 1,000, two 1,000, three 1,000, four 1,000, five 1,000, six 1,000, seven 1,000, eight 1,000, nine 1,000, 10 1,000. Does black damage, and that's cut by half, and yet that's still not enough. Man, let's see. Melting alarms, or increases it, okay. Success rate, movement speed, healing efficiency, and growth rate. Why the heck does this one have to have such? Why the heck does this one have to be such a royal pain in the ass to do work on? Oh, there's Gonzalez. That should be enough to max out his temperance, I think. And that gives her particularly good resistance to it. So I need to really spam insight work with this dude to work on her insight stat. Oh, shoot. For more than 30 seconds. That's why it's that low. One 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Weak to white, huh? Oh, it's not weak at all to hail damage. That's unusual. Yeah, boy. Gotta be a bit methodical here. Speed of methodical. Helps to have a timer for this sort of thing. Well, somewhat helps, I guess. One 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Okay, now I don't have to bother with that thing anymore. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm just glad that I didn't get a Cleafok meltdown for both of those. That would have been bad. Yeah. When did that get out? Could you not? Thank you. Yeah, Sanchez doesn't have that blue fire aura, so... I don't think it's going to be getting any higher than that. That's what I thought. I'm gonna max out their fortitude. And the best abnormality I've got for trying to raise someone's fortitude is the singing machine. But if someone has a fortitude of 4 or higher, they'll throw themselves right into it. Maybe that one. No, wait, that's right. It does hail damage. It's not going to be a good choice. Not the best choice either. Looks about the cutoff point for fortitude is about 80 for it to be considered rank 5. Well, this one might be good for maxing out someone's justice stat. Let's test that out, shall we? This better work. Need more Wa and He class abnormalities. well, wall class abnormalities that are not tools. I could take it down easily enough if it were, well, actually no, that's not really true, because anybody that how's life with the dock in your facility? It's going well enough. I've kind of hit a bit of a snag in that I've realized that I don't have very many WoG class abnormalities to suppress, which for completing Gebura's mission is going to be rather problematic. In fact, the only two that I have to suppress are the Judgment Bird, which would be a real pain, and Yin, which would also be a really big pain. Not to mention I need 3 different left abnormalities to suppress to complete her 3rd mission. Yeah, boy. Yeah, she should end up with a maxed out prudence stat after today. Should, that's the key word. As always. Pretty sure I've done enough repression work for him to raise that stat a bit. Or attachment work. For him to raise his temperance stat. But just to be sure. Oh, goody. Keep it together, Christopher. Whew. You just press Snow White's apple repeatedly. Yeah, that would also work. Like I said, I need a WA class that I can repeatedly suppress for that mission. Even if that, you know, just that alone will do just fine. It's like King of Greed would be a really good one for that, into that end. Might as well be a cardboard cage. Man, getting Censored's weapon is going to be a huge pain, because even with sending Christopher to do work on it, it's still dicey. Okay. Okay. Did his fortitude go down because he lost an ego gift or something? Because it doesn't show it having gone down. Probably because it shows his prudence going up, but it didn't rank up. Yep, and he's pretty much maxed out. I think she's just about ready to just have her go and work on the singing machine repeatedly. That's the teddy bear. Boy, both of those are heat class, however. Go with this one. Don't remember this one. I want to go home. Sister, we probably aren't going to go back to our old house anymore. Try to think of this place as your new home. How can you even call this place home? It's too different from our real home, and there's no mom. Well, what if we said Karma was our new mom then? No, this isn't the same at all. Let me go home, please. Enoch, why do you keep trying to participate in those weird experiments? You know we don't have to. Besides, Carmen told us that we didn't have to worry about anything here too. Of course, it'd be really fun to spend time with you here without a care in the world. Sometimes I imagine a future like that. It would be a very happy one. But how would we be able to find meaning in our lives there? He seems kind of young to be worried about trying to find meaning in his life. Maybe that's just me. There are children abandoned in the outskirts who are dying every day. We were only able to live on thanks to an unexpected turn of events. Settling for simple comfort in this place is not what I was born to do. And it shouldn't be either. The words are too hard for me. Why do you have so many thoughts in your mind? They say too much thinking might make you a weird person. Yeah, it does. I would know. You know, Lisa, I think I've always been sad. I never loved my own life for even a second. Oof. How nice it would be to live in a happy world next time. Enoch, are you hurt? No, it doesn't hurt one bit. Please, don't be sad. I know something good will happen next time. It seems you're awake. You're in Lobotomy Corporation, and I'm the one who woke you. The both of you are Tefirith. You'll be working as my assistants, helping me with amazing work from here on out. Why do we have the same name? Because there is no point in distinguishing between you two. Hi, nice to meet you, Tefirith. Tefirith. I keep making silly mistakes, Tefirith. Don't worry, I'll help you. I'm sure you'll be fine on your own pretty soon. We made it so far. The other Tefirith wouldn't have dreamed of working this fast. Well, and we might be even better partners than we thought. Yeah, I think so too. I wonder, why do we exist here? Why do you worry about that? We're part of the Central Command Department. We're sitting on a mountain of work to do. We just need to focus on the task at hand. We're radically different from normal machines. I think about you and you think about me. We both ponder about things, feel pain, and recognize our own existence. There must be some reason for it. Be careful, Tefirith. If Miss Angel finds out you're wondering about things like that, she won't be happy about it. Lady Angela, what will happen to Tefirith? Apart from the fact that his condition is abnormal, his excessive questioning will affect the manager's duties as well. Since this behavior is unacceptable under any circumstances, I'll have to reset him to the default status now. Don't worry, you'll be alright. You're simply going back to your first day at the company. But, Lady Angela, Tefirith has spent so much time with me. You're really starting to act like a child now, Tefirith. Why don't you say your goodbyes then? Though you two will meet again soon anyway. Tifrith, I'm sorry. Tifrith. Why are you crying, Tifrith? I'm sorry, I couldn't do anything for you. Please don't be sad. I know something good will happen next time. Yeah. We're here. Sometimes I spend my time here. It makes me think about a lot of things. Tifrith always looked at the world one step ahead of me. He was seeing his own world that I will never come to know. We were always next to each other, but in reality, we were never truly together. Do you know that feeling of missing someone even though they're standing right beside you? I don't care at all about the meaning or purpose of existence that Tifrith talked about. I just wanted the two of us to happily stay here together, that was all. But this place won't allow us to have even that small luxury. There are countless of Tifrith's dead bodies piled up here, can't you see? I'm standing here stepping on their remains, trampling all over the memories, reminiscences, and time that I spent with Tifrith. I'm standing on top of it right now, but I still don't get it. I still can't reach the world that Tifrith saw. I sing this song of our hometown and mourn for Tifrith, even though this will never reach him. Care to join me? Tifrith, what are you doing here? Just reminiscing on old memories. What memories? The good old days when we were together. You're right, we had lots of fun together. Come back to me soon, Tifrith. I'll be reading the rest of the report. I will. You can replace the machine and transfer the key memories all you want, but you still won't bring back the Tifrith I knew. Does that really matter, though? Tifrith will continue to smile at you, and he'll spend time with you just like before. Kindly refrain from bringing up such wasteful matters, Tifrith. Is completely meaningless here. I don't really like you. The new manager would always have some kind of influence on Tifrith, and what would eventually lead to yet another breakdown. It will be the same time and time again. We will discard Tifrith again and again. He will stray further and further from what he used to be. What I'm scared of most is seeing Tifrith burned to a husk, worn down from all those overloads and resets. For now, he can at least look normal and talk with me, pretending to feel nostalgia for the old memories that were forcefully added back. We're getting more and more unstable. As a matter of fact, we're basically pumping electricity into a machine that's already teetering to keep it running. You can make as many copies as you want of his body, but he only has one soul. One and only soul. And look what we've done to it. Let me ask you a favor. You've been good at doing favors for me so far. You should be able to manage this one. Could you get rid of Tifrith permanently? Angel would say that there's a reason for the two of us working here together. She'd say that we are two, yet one. But I can handle the Central Command Department all by myself. I proved myself a long time ago. Please, let Tifrith rest at peace. As if we're alone from the beginning before it gets any worse. Why aren't you saying anything? In fact, Lady Angel doesn't care about us at all. Whether there's one Tifrith or two, whether one just became a moving piece of useless scrap for whatever reason, or if one were overloaded and dumped on top of countless other discarded Tifrith left and melt in the storage, she wouldn't care. But you're different. You're supposed to be different. There were many abandoned children in the outskirts. These children were one of the many end results of the countless conflicts among the wings within the city. Aside from disease and hunger, the most frightening enemy for the children were the ones referred to as the sweepers. The sweepers usually preyed upon the children. Sometimes they would accompany them. Both were worst-case scenarios for the children. One fixer of ours was exploring the outskirts and came across those children. We can easily guess why she bothered to report her findings to us. We also figured that she had spent quite a bit of time agonizing over whether to report it or not. Carmen personally asked her to bring the children here. To take two children into the city from the outskirts required an extremely complicated procedure. No one complained. Two children didn't look like siblings, but they were dependent on each other even more so than siblings by blood do. The girl was easily frightened and wouldn't open up very much to us. However, the boy started to show interest in our experiment. I saw it in his eyes. He had already seen and experienced so much of this world's despair and misfortune. His eyes no longer looked like those of a child. Please allow me to participate in the experiment, he said. Herman spent many nights thinking about his earnest request. Then finally, we want to go while holding a child's hand. You should have been the one to die! Yeah, I should have died. Lisa's vicious mumbling likely had no weight to it. But I knew one thing. I knew Carmen's answer was sincere. Ever since that day, her wound quietly deepened. Now, since expanding Gebura's department and the disciplinary team until I have at least one class abnormality that I can reliably suppress. Better yet would be if I had an LF as well. Hey, Paul. Oh, wait. Okay. I guess that'll do. There we go. That ought to do it. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. What was the deal with the red shoes again? Okay, so tempered set of too low, or if a bad work result is achieved. Well, that makes me think that if I send someone to work on it, it makes me think that attachment work would go rather well, because that's usually the case. Whatever sort of stat has if there's a stat that has a minimum requirement, that tends to be the one that works the best. Hmm. That makes no sense. Oh, it's Gonzalez. go south, so I don't know if I want to risk that or not. But then again... If you want to complete Chesed's missions, you're going to have to practically abuse... Oh, crap. You're practically going to have to abuse the pause functionality in this game. Ain't got all day, Christopher. There's a few ways I could make it a bit more efficient. Oh, no associated ego gift. Okay. Might need that to be a bit higher. No. Not like they're really going to be taking damage from it anyway. Oh, shoot. Why did I think that insight would work? I don't see any others. Where the heck are they? Oh. Alright. Wait. Cancel that order. I don't remember if Everett was one of the ones that has I think it's Christopher. What's all the screaming about? You're going to scratch that one. Oh. Heck yeah! Divide and conquer. Just like bacteria. And that takes care of Chesed's mission. A bit slow going, but it works. Alright. That one could come in handy. Isn't that the Moonlight Sonata? I have a hunch if I end up getting hurt, then the one immediately afterwards is going to be the big and will be bad wolf. In our world, the mind has lost everything. Its weight, its significance. Now it is nothing. Everything advances, but the human mind is simply too slow and plastic to catch up. All that remains are the 26 singularities, and those who are tied to them. Humankind had deserted its former beliefs. It now has little respect for the various pillars that had supported us. These days, no one ever dreams. Nobody ever earnestly believes in something or wishes for anything. The belief once strong within a certain woman is now obsolete and worthless, abandoned like an old music box. Everything has gone quiet, as if nothing had happened in the first place. However, A couldn't stand that despicable silence. So what do you think happened to him? On a bright sunny day with clear skies, he died. I was both the first witness of his death and one of the culprits in his murder. However, A has always existed here, watching you ever since you stepped inside. Sometimes the Spirit would ask me this: why do we have to bear this pain? A machine should only exist as a tool for its specified work. Why do we have to know the cold agony of loss, the insidious poison of obsession, the soft light of wishing, the unbearable pain of despair, then the hope to embrace it all with open arms? I thought I could answer anything, but not even I could answer that particular question. A machine must behave as a machine. That phrase was something A told me often. Perhaps A, the one who would know better than anyone else about this fact, made us like this because it's all a staged play. No. A puppet show just for him. You seem to have no idea. Well, of course there's no way for you to know. But now it is time for you to know the answer. It's something I've always done. First, as a hope. Second, through agony. Third, in pain. Fourth, for anxiety. Fifth, out of distrust. Now, nothing remains. I suppose the big and will be bad wolf would be easy enough to Yeah, just go with that for now. Oh, she doesn't have enough fortitude. Problem solved. Yeah, sure. So go with that. Don't really have. It's not gonna have any good options, really. Oh, that means that the Red Riding Hooded mercenaries right over there. Huh. Noted. Instinct, I guess? Oh yeah, that's right. Let's see. Employees with temper level 2 or lower should not work with the Red Shoes, as inside the Red Shoes containment unit, Frank went insane. The Red Shoes remembered their previous owner. When the work result was normal, the Qlifoth counter lowered with a normal probability. When the work result was bad, the Qlifoth counter lowered with a high probability. The Qlifoth counter became 0. A low temperance employee, Owen, entered the containment unit in a trance. The phenomenon has been dubbed allurement. After continuously attempting to select and converse with Rose, who was allured, they seemingly returned to normal. What do you mean, they? Rose is a woman's name. Fee, fi, fo, fog. I hear the barking of an annoying little dog. I'm not sure if the microphone is picking it up. Oh, okay. Don't care for the range, but that does a lot of good damage. Is that supposed to be lipstick or something? Because it says it's applied to the mouth. Yeah, it must be. That's odd. Who worked on the singing machine before? Tatiana, okay. Well, that's convenient. Why the heck did I spend ink of felon on that? rain hair, ruby lips, sparks fly from her fingertips. Echo voices in the night. She's a restless spirit on an endless flight. A J-Rock. She's got the moon in her eyes. Which band sang that? Was that the Eagles? I might be misremembering. Nope, still not yet. Not that it particularly matters, because for some reason I haven't been handed that mission. And yes, I noticed that just now. That alone should be enough. Be prepared. That's the Boy Scouts marching song. Be prepared. As through life you march along, be prepared to hold your liquor pretty well. Don't write naughty words on walls if you can't spell. Be prepared. '83 and '72. Let's go with 83. That one's probably closer to. Probably a little closer to maxing out. Oh, shoot. Okay. That's all taken care of. As you were. Those that don the garb of a magical girl are destined for greatness. Whether or not that's a good thing is up to you to decide. You know, as far as abnormalities go, she seems pretty chill. Well, that did not go as planned. One thing? What one thing? Oh yeah, I know about that. If there's gonna be a reference to Little Red Riding Hood in a work of fiction, you can rest assured there's gonna be a big bad wolf counterpart, and they are not gonna get along at all. Except the Red Riding Hood got used to sharpening the axe instead of picking flowers when she was 15. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, she's metal AF, and we all F with it, I guess. Yeah, I still like some gifs of how this thing moves around, and for some reason it kind of makes me think of a displacer beast. Oh, Displacer Beast. It's a monster in Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of like this weird cat-like thing that... It's either capable of illusions or maybe some psionics, but the thing is, you can't really tell where exactly it is. The one thing you do know about where it is that it's not where it seems to be. Typically found in the Underdark. So, just, you don't know where the cat is because it isn't where it is. Sort of. Basically, the thing is, you can't... Like I said, it uses illusions or that kind of thing, so that... I think it's, like... It'll, like, use illusions to, like, make it seem like there's... It kind of flickers between different spots. Oh, and if I remember right, it's also a predator. So if you run into it when in the Underdark, it's probably because it's stalking you and your party as prey. How convenient. No, really, it's convenient. There's a lot of nasty stuff in the Underdark. Like, for example, that's where the Drow live. There's also, like, these... believe it or not, a Displacer Beast is actually relatively low as far as, threats go. Hang on. Let me double check the monster manual. Just too far. Let's see. Yeah, challenge 3. That actually makes a relatively low threat. Let's see. Because I thought I'd give a bit of context for just how high a threat some things can get. Yeah, so the Displacer Beast is a challenge rating of 3 on a scale of 30. Based off Limbus Company. That would be pretty interesting. And one thing about D&D is that there's a lot of room for homebrew stuff. Which I have heard like some stuff about like some kind of preferred politics being shoved into like the what is it 5.5 edition or something like that. But the thing is, Wizards of the Coast can't actually force that on anybody. There would be identities, the weapons could be ego. Yeah, pretty much. Like I was saying, like with it's like edition of 5.5 or something like that. Wizards of the Coast is trying to, trying to put some stuff into it. And the thing is, I kind of chuckle at it, at them trying to do that because, with the whole with the kind of room that there is for homebrew stuff, you can't force anything onto the players via D&D. They'll just be like, yeah, screw that, we'll do our homebrew thing. Although I am rather curious, like, how exactly censored would work if, like, you did, like, a homebrew Limbus Company-based D&D campaign. Like, do they like see like some kind of like amorphous blob that's like has like sensor bars plastered all over it or something, or it's just like this big gray blob that looks almost like it's been censored. Variation of a plasmoid. Yeah, that'd probably work. I mean, like the sense, but what is shown of censored is that it does kind of change its shape and all that. Oh wait, nope, not that. You know, it'd be kind of interesting if, like, you know, the players managed to come up with like some kind of way to set a trap for yin and yang, so that like one is kept in a contained area and the other one is like the only way it can reach is to pass through like some kind of laser gate the players have set up that just dice it to pieces. That would be impressive. Yeah, derp. Why do I keep doing that? That would fit plasmoids with slimes, yeah. And the slimes are kind of a monster in D&D. Come to think of it, nothing there could be a mimic of sorts, because there's mimics that get really crazy. There's like the kind that takes the form of a treasure chest, but then there's some that can take the form of a room. And don't even get me started on the Dread Gazebo. And heck, its ego is even called mimicry. I think I've like seen like some homebrew stuff where it's like you can actually play a mimic, where it's like learn to shapeshift into a person. Yeah, something like that. You could also just have it be some sort of thing where, like, it just copies someone's appearance. Yeah, I suppose it would be kind of boring. Of course, then again, you know, nothing there also, because of the way it tends to mimic people's appearances, kind of reminds me of, what was it, John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, it does. Like the player whose shell was taken could pretend to be their character, but slightly off. How'd you kind of RP that they're pretending to be their character, but slightly off? I'm kind of... Just makes for some interesting food for thought. Oh, this kind of make me think of like that episode of Supernatural where, well, the episode's called "The French Mistake," in reference to a scene from Blazing Saddles in which the fourth wall is literally broken. So, basically, the actors, Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, are playing their characters, playing the actor badly playing their character. Like suddenly develop a verbal tick. Bit less well dressed. I'm like kind of picturing them like looking like they just stumbled out of a bar or something like that. No, I was always like that. They could have forgot their boots because usually NT doesn't need boots. Yeah, true. Or would not wear their helmet. Or we just take on a oddly red hue and looking kind of sus. Why are the results just not as good as they used to be with this thing? Okay, where are the rest of the worms? Eh? How do those suddenly get there? There we go. Oh no, this would be normal, but they would also talk like they're imitating someone. Like, let's say they had their shell stolen, they would suddenly only talk when needed, and when they do talk, they say something along the lines of "manager for D&D," like master. Almost like, yes, master. No, wait, that'd be something else entirely. Never mind. That's Dobby. We don't want Dobby. I was going for Renfield. Speaking of Renfield, remember watching some like touche. Remember watching some of the trailers for that movie the other day. We got a crappy house elf instead. I was watching some of the trailers for that movie back when it's coming out in theaters, and I'm thinking to myself, being a vampire probably wouldn't be so bad. You could just lie down in your coffin and just say, Renfield, wake me when the bullshit is over, and slam the lid shut. The kind that can sleep in a coffin for basically ever, more or less, and they just they have like some kind of minion like Renfield. He'll just wake them up when they want to be woken up. Cool duds, but it's not a high caliber sniper scythe. I'm maxing out her fortitude one way or another today. Yeah, Crimson Scar is pretty cool. I just wish it was a high caliber sniper scythe. I'm pretty sure Camille will survive this. Yep, see? There you go. May not have been a good work result, but it worked. Goody. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Fingers crossed. Oh, yeah. Fingers crossed for what? A neutral work result, that's what. To be honest, it's great for it, easy to manage. Wow, yeah, no kidding. Get your butt over there! Booyah! I'm a genius. Why do I get the feeling that the Plague Doctor is probably going to end up swapping positions with the big and will be bad wolf, or Red Riding Hood and Mercenary at some point, so that they're right next to each other. I just feel like I'm the only one who pronounces "wall" like "wow." I'm not even sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, to be honest. Wow, wow. It's an A. W-A-W. My Hebrew isn't very good. It's saying like A and with a Z before it. Teth like T-eth, he like he, and left like A left. I've actually heard a left pronounced before. I don't remember what the anime was, but there's like some anime where there's a kind of power that one of the characters was able to call on, which of course involved saying its name, which was Mem Aleph. Oh, that's why he took so much damage. Oh, I suppose if there's an abnormality... What the... Well, that ain't gonna do. I suppose if there was an abnormality based on Michael Jackson, that'd be... It would be hee-hee class. Yeah, gotta do the right beat. Be hee-hee class. Well... Oh, that's pale damage. I'll throw you censored continue as a sacrifice. I suppose it could have been worse. I could have suddenly decided to take up a Joker impression. And I have to admit, I'd have a lot of fun with that one. Okay. Actually, let me correct myself. Okay. I'll throw you into nothing there containment unit and have it take you as its new shell. I don't know, I think it probably ended up driving nothing there bonkers. With my bad puns and all that. Let me guess. I'm only gonna have one option. Oh. I need a third of left. Although 72. All right. Hey, are you listening to me? I yearn to help people. No, becoming a wing is not my goal. Well, everyone says that, but let me put it this way: what use are wings if you can't fly? Yeah, it'd be kind of tough to fly with 26 wings. What if we could reach the sky without wings? Rockets could do that. What I mean is, if we grow the stalk straight up like a tree, we could reach the sky for sure, even if it would be a slow climb. You mean like the Tower of Babel, or like Yggdrasil? Can you feel it? The sunlight here is very warm. Sometimes I dream about photosynthesis, lying down comfortably with my eyes closed, just soaking it up. Yeah, put it there. You freaking asshole. Oh, there she is. One thing to say, contain it in your sight. I know that. It's basically the inverse of Schadenfreude. I don't like the way it's looking at me. Reading comprehension practice time. Okay, so instinct was a bad choice. Tell me what concept every abnormality you have embodies. Both the positive and the negative. Well, censored seems to embody sort of a fear of the unknown. In fact, most of the abnormalities seem to embody various fears or anxieties. With the Plague Doctor and White Knight, that one's a bit of a tough one because it seems like there's several possibilities, all of which could very well be true. Yeah, following false idols, but also in particular when it comes to White Knight, it could also be, fearing, like kind of a fear of divinity, like some kind of higher power. There's also some people that seem to have quite a bit of fear and anxiety about religion. Christianity in particular. Schadenfreude, I think, is probably more the fear of... I'm not sure if it'd be Schadenfreude or Burrowing Heaven, which is this one, would probably be the fear of being watched, while the other would probably be kind of a fear or anxiety of being ignored. Well, being ignored or possibly abandoned. This one, because it's called the Giant Tree Sap, it kind of reminds me of this one story by Junji Ito called Smashed. Oh, hello there, Edward. Anyways, in the story Smash, like I said, it's by Junji Ito, so it's a horror story, of course. There's like this one tree somewhere in the world that, had sap that tasted, unbelievably delicious to the point that if someone had some of its sap, anything else would taste like crap. But the thing is, if someone drank some of its sap, the tree, well, is capable of moving around much like the Whomping Willow. But the thing is, it's also capable of reaching anywhere in the world. So if someone drank some of its sap, the tree would know it would just smash them right then and there. Even if they had some of it in a jar and they were halfway around the world. Let's see. Winter storms could be kind of spooky, especially when they get rather intense. And at the same time, what about Judgment Bird? good question. Because the Judgment Bird is something of a hanging judge. And also acts as judge, jury, and executioner. I mean, I suppose I should note that kind of one thing I've noticed is that the game, quite a bit of it kind of makes me think of the repentance process and all that. And has given quite a bit of food for thought in that regard. And Judgment Bird, in that sense, could be thought of as, you know, someone repenting or, you know, doing good, and, well, kind of like this one, you know, one sin in hundreds of good deeds. Even if they did hundreds of good deeds, some people might have, you know, might feel some fear or anxiety about whether or not that those hundreds of good deeds would be enough. Yeah. Unfair judgment is kind of another thing it can apply to. Censored could be fear of the unknown. I think I said that already. Latasha seems to be both kind of the idea of, you know, a creepy doll as well as, you know, the uncanny valley. Because, you know, she's adorable, but seems off. Oh, it's because you got a really crappy temperance stat. Hard to say with the blue star. Because it gives we can see the bear can. Let's see. Personally, I think she's possessiveness. That would also apply, that would apply as well. Oh yeah, that's right, I don't have it this run. The Fairy Festival could also apply there, because, like, if the fairy is following someone around, as soon as they reach another abnormalities containment unit, they get killed by it. Idolization, you know, I'd agree there. In a similar manner, it could be cults, I guess. Let's see, it was prudence and temperance. Okay. Nurturing just to be consumed, or like a like perhaps an overbearing parent or something like that. Like there's the trope of my beloved smother. You got this, Christopher. Oh yeah, that's why we pay you the big bucks, Chris. The teddy bear, or whatever the heck it's called, that would definitely be abandonment. This one could be grudges. Fragment of the universe, perhaps, you know, I suppose that one could be like forbidden knowledge, or, you know, things man was not meant to know. You know, like the kind of thing, like some sort of, which would be jealousy. Yeah, that would definitely fit. Heartlessness would be another one. Yeah, the old lady would be solitude, of course. Or solitude, loneliness, isolation, whichever. Old faith and promise, I guess, could be gambling addictions. Or how gambling ruins some people. Well, the meat lantern is based on its overall design is based on an anglerfish. There's a lot of things in life that they're rather alluring, kind of pleasing to the eye, or kind of pleasing, or seem like they might be pleasant or harmless. But if you try and indulge in those things, you end up, it'll end up causing you harm, and a person would end up regretting indulging those kinds of things. In fact, come to think, there's a few yokai that are kind of like that, where they look like something perfectly harmless and innocuous from a distance, but the distinguishing characteristics, like the kind of characteristics that it has, that you'd be able to see and thus identify it, you wouldn't notice it until you get close enough that it would already be too late. Such as, I don't remember what its name is in Japanese, but it translates to hook-haired woman. They tend to hang out in red light districts. The Kuchidake Onna can be kind of like that as well. The red shoes. Okay, that's a bit of a tough one, because it does seem to be based on a story, and in the case of this story, it's vanity. Oh. Oh, that too. Anyway, good thing it doesn't hijack the camera and notice that I'm not actually looking at the screen. Immune to red, huh? Weak to white, though. Alright, so the red shoes. Let's see. The design is antique, there's no telling where and how they were made. It overwhelms the mind with the urge to try them on. The changes that occur from wearing the abnormality are first visible to the eyes of the wearer. The next observable change is that the wearer is willing to take off the shoes. They will also act upon any and all desires that they may have subconsciously suppressed. If someone attempts to hamper them from acting on their desires or tries to take off the shoes will control its host, which sometimes leads to murder. So there is kind of an element of vanity, like with the story that they're based on. But at the same time, it also seems to have an element of loss of control. Oh yeah. The singing machine. The singing machine, as well as for that matter, the what was it called? The Little Helper seems to be kind of like a fear of, I guess, technological advances, but also kind of robotics, machines, and AI. Especially with the Little Helper. This, the opened can of well cheers. It's a perfectly understandable concern that someone might have, that someone may have spiked their drink. Ah! Almost. I don't think so, Gonzalez. the skin prophecy could be considered like almost like a tome of forbidden lore. Yeah, it might be fear of religion too. Same with the flesh idol. I'll be taking that. I probably don't have enough time to finish this day. Oh yeah, the crumbling armor. Okay, kind of an interesting one there. So this game was made in South Korea. If I'm not mistaken, there has historically been tension between Japan and Korea. And I say Korea because, of course, this was back before it was North and South Korea. There were times where Japan had, well, at least one occasion in history where Japan had invaded the Korean Peninsula. And as such, it seems likely that the crumbling armor was perhaps somewhat based or inspired on that. The same, in kind of a similar manner, can be because anyone who gets like its gift, they can't do attachment work because if they do, they get instantly killed. So I think it also kind of could also represent, like a person who, because they've, maybe because they're a soldier or something like that, they can't form attachments, either because at any given time they might have to go and fight a war and possibly not come back, or that sometimes with people when they come back from a war with PTSD and it's very difficult for them to form attachments with other people because of that, or even just maintain them. I'm not sure about this one. I'm just about out of time though, so I'll probably raid out. Let's see who else is streaming Lobotomy Corporation. Well, there's Delta 52. Looks like they're trying to do some core suppressions, and a ways along. So as always, folks, thank you for watching. Do not stop being awesome, and I'll catch you in the next stream. But until then, take care.